Is it ready?
Yep, we're on.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Jackson Brand Live. I'm June. I'm recruitment consultant from Jackson Brand, and today we have Camilla with me. Please welcome Alexander, Director of Recruitment Operations from Jackson Brand.
Hi everyone, nice to see you on the call today, and looking forward to getting down some controversial topics.
Okay, so as you can see from our posts, the content we will discuss is about why do recruiters ignore me?
Yeah.
Pretty sensitive content, I would say.
Yeah, so tell me about the weekend, what did you get up to?
Well, this weekend is more like I stay at home, learning our routine. Basically, it's my main hobby.
Okay.
So basically, I just started learning about the car and everything. It's learning.
Okay, so any tarot questions, pop them in the comments below, and we'll get to them in the Q&A section. For me, I took my dogs to the vet for their annual checkup, and I've got two dogs, one boy, one girl, and the girl, you said now in Thai they could say gas canister. She looks like a gas canister.
Gas, yeah.
Yeah, so the vet said she's a little bit too fat now and she has to go on a diet. So yeah, I've got to feed her pills and she's taking my fingers off by doing this. So yeah, very, very chilled weekend, but I have to go to the vet.
Yeah, but pet parents problem.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So yeah, now today we're just waiting a little bit for people to join.
No, it's okay. Carry on. We can catch you later.
Okay. Okay. So what we're gonna discuss about today, as I say, why do recruiters ignore me? I think it's a little bit sensitive content, but it's good to bring it on the table because so people like understand like what's happening in the back in terms of like recruitment operation. So what's happened on a weekly basis on LinkedIn lately?
Yeah, so I guess just to start off on LinkedIn, I've been working on my profile and my personal brand for quite a while now, and I'll probably get up to about 40 messages per week. Now, if I'm getting 40 messages per week, people want to contact me, wanting a job, sending me their resume. It's fantastic. I'd love to engage with everybody, but I just don't have the time. I mean, people sometimes give recruiters a bad rep and say like they're lazy, but I mean, I often work up to 14 hours every day, 12 hours, 10 hours, and we're working on assignments, we're working on businesses, we're very client focused, and Thailand is a bit of a general market, so honestly it's impossible to contact with everybody, and I can see a couple of people joining, so hi Ashura, thank you for joining the stream. But let's say if Ashura wants to contact with me, I don't know if it's possible that I can do that. Depends on the clients I'm working with, depends on the roles I'm working on, depends on how my schedule is for the week. So yeah, it can be quite tricky. So how about you, June?
Yeah, I think it's like for me, like I receive a lot of message on LinkedIn. Sometimes I don't have much time to reply back. I'm sorry for everyone. So, but basically, it's just like we are quite like busy on what we are doing right now. So like if you can see like some of the recruiters job pipeline, it's crazy. We have a lot of like workloads, and we have to talk to probably like 20 people per day. We have to make 20 calls per day at least. So that's why we just like don't have time to be like to engage with everybody. Even we would love to.
But just to give a bit more context, it's not even that we can't engage with everybody, but we can't help everybody.
Exactly.
And for the people that really interested to come to the country, or people who've lived in the country before and want to come back, that it's changing, things are changing, so I think if we can help, we will. If we can give you advice, well, this is why we're doing the live today, so we can give you guys real help and advice on how to get that job. But I think if you can really understand that we are busy as well, then yeah, it's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah, sure. When candidates are active, why can't recruiters help?
Okay, great question. So I think first and foremost is you need to understand the market of recruitment here. So let's say if we use India, for example, Indian recruitment is highly competitive. Rates are lower than Thailand, and there's a lot more smaller companies who are doing recruitment. If you compare that to England, you've got 30,000 companies in England registered as recruitment companies, but 80% of them have less than 5 staff in their company. In Thailand, we're very much a generalist market, and there's some huge players in the market. You know, for example, my ex-company has over 500 staff now. You have the likes of Michael Page and Robert Walters, and we're very much a generalist society when it comes to recruitment. And what that means is that about 90% of recruitment in Thailand can be transactional. With it being transactional, it means that a lot of the consultants who are working on specific jobs, they don't have the relationship needed with the client in order to really get down and deep and learn what they need in order to propose an expat. So what will happen is, you know, the line manager or the managing director or general manager will say to the HR director, this is what I want, A, B, C, D. This is my budget. These are the type of candidates I will consider. Now, because Thailand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, June, because a lot of Thais, they don't like conflict. Well, the HR doesn't want to have conflict with the MD. So it doesn't want to challenge the MD by saying, you know, I've got this expat. I think they can really fit what you're looking for. Secondly, culturally, it can be really sensitive. If you've never worked in Thailand before, I can tell you it's tough when you first arrive. I mean, for me, my mum used to say to me, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. In Thailand, everyone's 15 minutes late, so I'm always 30 minutes early. You know, so understanding that and not being frustrated, you know, I've seen it where, you know, a German multinational will bring in a German who's never worked in Thailand before, and this person will be fantastic and successful in their job. They'll come here and they'll fail. And the reason they'll fail is because they can't adapt to the culture, which is quite tricky. So when you're active and you're looking for a job, if a recruiter doesn't have that sort of job available, they're less likely to want to respond to you or to help. And that gives us a bad reputation as recruiters because it's like we're only interested in the money. But we're not. We want to do the right thing, but we're governed by clients a lot of the time. But when you have a deeper relationship, so when you have connections with managing directors and general managers and even HR directors to an extent, if you can really show the value proposition of a candidate, then there's a chance we can get an expat in.
Sure. So, like, can you how should them reach out to a recruiter basically? Because as you told us, like, you know, like sometimes we cannot help, but you know, at some point, if they really need help from you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the first thing to do is start to research. In a networking event recently, I met a guy, and he told me he was desperate for a job. He really needed my help, but he didn't know what I did. So because Thailand is generalist, he was thinking that I could do this job to help him, but I don't work in that section. Now I can do my best to help him because, you know, this guy will get kicked out of the country and he's pretty happy here. But it's tough, you know, because if the position that this guy wanted to do can be done by Thais and can be done cheaper than expats. So why would a client hire this person in a technical role where they'll be talking to engineers who speak the local language and this person doesn't? So that's quite tough. So how you should really reach out to a recruiter is read their profile, right? So, and be polite when you do reach out and respectful of time. You know, one of the things that frustrates me is when people just connect with me and I'll accept the connection and then they say hi. So I don't know why I love to engage in it. So if I say hi, and then they say, how are you? I'm good. You? I'm good. Okay, get to the point.
Yeah.
Right? I don't mean it to be rude, but time is money. And let's see if we can work together. Let's see if I can help you. Let's see if I can give you some advice. But I think a lot of recruiters, like I get reached out to by IT people. Now, my profile used to say IT, but I don't do IT anymore. So I'm not going to be able to help you if you are a developer. I can refer you onto other people, but then I'm at the mercy of whether they accept your request or not. But yeah, so read the profile, research, check what you want to do ahead of time, and yeah, the recruiter will be more likely to be able to help.
Exactly. I think it's getting tricky, but I will go deeper in details, like in terms of like now in Thailand, the Thai candidate seems to be develop like the skill. Their English is getting way much better.
Yep.
And now it's just like instead of hiring like expat who is like double salary of Thai candidates, so that's why they start to consider like to have like Thai candidates to work on the position.
Yeah, and I think it's changed a little bit as well in the fact of, 10, 12 years ago, Thailand lacked the skills, and Thai people lacked the skills and education to be able to do the top technical jobs or senior jobs. It was quite rare to have a managing director of a multinational company who was Thai. Now it's not.
Yeah.
Thais are a lot more worldly, a lot more well-traveled, a lot better educated, and why hire an expat with a house and a car and schooling?
Yeah.
And schooling is so expensive in Thailand. And if you're an expat, you can't put your kid in a local school.
Yeah.
So, if a company is going to invest, this is where you say double. It can even be triple when you start to look at the package.
Exactly.
So if let's say if the client is trying to look at their budget, and of course the economy globally at the moment is suffering. And what happens in Thailand is we follow the trend. So if the US has an economic downturn and the UK has an economic downturn, chances are it will filter to Thailand a bit later. But because we're a manufacturing hub, because we're an emerging country, that means that actually we should be recession proof, but it's not guaranteed. So it can be really, really difficult for an expat to get a job, especially if they've never worked here before. But the good news is if you have worked here before, it's a lot easier. And I think as long as you're open to, what it means to work in the country in terms of like salary that you can live comfortably on, taxes that you pay, if you've got any questions on this, please pop them in the comments below. But, I think there's lots of variables which can make your life very nice in Thailand. I mean, I've been here for 12 years now. Started with pretty much nothing. Now I'm a partner in a business, and there's a lot of opportunity here if you're willing to work hard.
Yeah, exactly. So, how can you secure a job? This question.
Okay, it's tough. I think first and foremost is if you have a real specialty, research companies. We'll touch on this in future episodes, but ChatGPT is golden to learn about competitors, to learn about what a company does in Thailand, for example. So, when one of the things I always say to an expat, if I reach out to them, is say, well, what top 5 companies would you like to join? And if they say, I don't know, I'm open, I'd say, well, it's great that you're open, but it doesn't help me because the ocean is so big. You need to narrow and you need to be specific. So researching the companies is really, really important. I think the second thing that you need to do is decide whether you want to go alone or whether you want to go with a recruiter. And if you want to go with a recruiter, it is suicide to contact every single recruiter because we're governed by the client. And if 3 people try to call the same client with your profile, you lose value. And, it can be really frustrating for the clients, especially if you've got 3-4 BD people calling you, trying to pitch you a candidate. So Thailand is a highly, highly relationship-driven country. And if you don't have those relationships, it's extremely hard to pitch candidates in. Whereas in India, in US, a lot of recruiters do that as standard. Singapore is standard. If you've got a really strong candidate, that's how you open the door, you pitch them in. But in Thailand, it doesn't quite work like that. And I think finally would be to really choose the recruitment company that you're going to choose to represent you. There's over 200 companies in Thailand in recruitment, and not to speak ill of any companies, but there's only really 20, 25 which have a power and presence in the country, and the others are very, very transactional.
Remember, guys, we are in live now. If you have any question, please feel free to drop your question here so we can just answer the question during our Q&A section. Okay, so tough question again. Why is it so difficult for expat to find a job here?
Yeah, okay. So I think first and foremost is you need to understand the labor laws. So in Thailand, for every company which is not registered under BOI, which we'll touch upon in a moment, you need to have at least 4 Thai full-time staff to 1 expat. So if you're a small company, it's very hard to hire expats. You know, for us as a business, we're like 25, 26 people, and we're restricted to how many expats we can hire. You know, I spoke to a great guy last week, recruiter. He's in Thailand. He's experienced. He wants a job. Work permit wise, we just can't do it. And the labor law is quite strict. I think in the future it will change, because what happened during COVID is we lost a lot of expats who returned home, and a lot of those expats have not been replaced. So I think it will change, but it will be slow. Also, when it comes to the culture, if you've never worked with Thais before and you don't understand the culture, it can be really intimidating for the people who work in a company when an expat comes in. So, you know, for example, if you're Indian, you know, I really respect Indian candidates because, you know, there's 1 billion people in India, and it's such a competitive landscape in order to rise to the top. And there's no secret to the passion of Indian people when you see that. I think it's like 9 of the 15 CEOs globally are Indian, right? They work hard. But honestly, in Thailand, people work hard, but there's a limit to how much they will work. You know, and they don't want to be pushed outside their comfort zone so much. So there's a lot of fear from companies when an expat does apply, you know, whether that person fits in. Now, if you're a senior manager and you've got those USPs, then it should be fine, you know, because you're in a different part of the organization. But if you're, you know, in the middle stage of your career or junior stage of your career, what makes you stand out? That's what you've really got to find out. The other thing I would say is the actual paperwork that goes into hiring an expat. It's so laborious. It takes such a long time to do it, and different nationalities have different regulations. So for me, being a Brit, it's easy. Right? For an American, it's easy. But if you're from a country like Latvia or Russia, or, you know, one of those other countries like that, it can be very, very difficult to get actual work permits. Yeah.
And I can tell, you know, as a from Thai citizen perspective, I think, like, you know, Thai government, they set, you know, the process like pretty strict.
Yep.
And when it comes to paperwork and visa work permits, you know, it's like a lot of work. It requires a lot of work. So that's why, like, most of the company, they would just avoid the process.
Yep.
So like, what about we hire like Thai candidates? No problem, you know. And I think it's like also now, as we just discussed before, that Thai candidate, they start to, you know, like develop themselves to speak more English, because as now, like these past 10 years that we become a hub of like manufacturing. So Thai people, they start to, you know, like learn it by doing, learning in practice to get into the manufacturing. At that time, back then, we have a lot of expat like manager.
Yep.
So they try to adapt themselves, and now they become the manager themselves. And now it's just like, you know, so many, what can I say, like Thai candidates that can do pretty much the same work as expat candidates. So that's why if you are expat, you probably require like a unique skill set that Thai candidate doesn't have. So this is why, like, now it's getting more and more difficult.
Yeah. And I think I just add to that as well. If you're trying to run an organization in Thailand, and all of your top management or all of your senior management are expats, then the Thai staff which you have, who are the majority, will see a barrier to progression.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of companies, they need to promote Thai leaders, they need to promote local talent.
Yeah.
And if they're seen to just have, you know, a full expat management level, they're going to lose staff.
Yeah.
And it's important for the future of the economy that we do keep promoting Thai leaders as well. So I think there's definitely a need for more talent in the country, particularly from other countries. But you've really got to, you know, show why you're unique and why you're different in the market.
Yeah, in some company they even send Thai candidates to Thai employees to, you know, oversee, to, you know, to go and learn, like, you know, and then transfer the process from the headquarters to manufacturing, you know. So that's why it just start getting, you know, more and more difficult for expats.
Well, your recent placement is a good example, right? You sent it to New Zealand for what, like 2 months or so to really learn the business. And you know, can you imagine that happened 10 years ago? Not really, not unless it was managing director level or that senior.
Yeah, but now like they start to have like Thai candidates like as a director level, so that because they believe that these people, if you send them like, you know, overseas to see like what it is like, you know, in the headquarters, so now they can learn fast, and then they come back, you know, with what can I say, like they become a mixed culture. They understand the policy from the headquarters, and now they can get to the people in like, you know, local people. So that's why, you know, like they start to evolve.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one is, why do recruiters ignore your application?
Oh, okay. Very, very good question. I'll give you an example first of all. So I have a client, and they were very busy. They're quite a small company, and they actually wanted a HR manager in India, which, wow, I mean, I've never really done that before. And what happened was I put a job ad out, and I posted it on LinkedIn, and within 48 hours, I had 400 candidates. And I started to look through the candidates, and it was really, really difficult to filter. Now, we're on a deadline. We've got to deliver quickly.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of the candidates, they're HR, so HR is a transferable skill. But what my client needed was somebody from an agricultural background. So in tandem with the job ad, I was doing a headhunt, and I headhunted and I got the person I needed. So that's one reason, because we just get too many applicants. I think secondly is like an actual inability to help. So the recruiter doesn't have the relationship with the client, they don't have access, or maybe your profile just does not look so unique. Your skill set is not unique as to why I should challenge my client to open it up to an expat. I think also there's a big fear to put the client under pressure, because if you think about Thailand and again culture, I think from my perspective, Thais are not great at sales, but they're fantastic at customer service. So from a recruitment standpoint, if you put that into practice, we serve clients. A lot of recruiters provide a service to their clients. They don't provide sales like as such, right? And then to sell somebody's profile in takes skill, but it's an art form. So if you think about recruitment, 30-40% is skill, the rest is art. You know, so I think that can really help as well. If you can see why you're unique, what is your unique selling point, and it should be related to your experience. That makes it the easiest way to get in. Oh, and finally, sorry, one that I missed. Sometimes just too expensive.
Yeah.
You know, so the client has a budget, and we can see. I mean, we're experienced. We know what people earn, and clients that can be quite strict with their budgets. And you see a fantastic candidate, and you just go, "There's no way they can afford that candidate."
I think it's like, you know, if you open to move to Thailand, one thing for sure that you you need to consider is like local package because at this point like the market is quite like competitive, and if you are like more expensive than what they can find in the market, it's you need to be open minded about the local package as well.
Yeah, and again, like we can, if there's any questions on tax rates and things like that, tax can be quite high in Thailand, but it can be managed. BOI we mentioned before, which is the Board of Investment. So let's say you are in tech and you want a job in tech, chances are you only have to pay 15% tax. So you could take a lower salary to get into the country, get 2 to 3 years experience, and then move forward from there.
So I think is that all? So we can just move forward to Q&A. Is there any question regarding the do you have any tips or advice for people who are actively looking for jobs?
Well, I think we've just spent 25 minutes giving tips and advice. But again, if I was to really summarize it, it would be ensure that you research the companies. One of the things that I mean by research is that, let's say, for example, you're a mechanical engineer. All right, let's just use this one as an example. And you're interested to join 3 or 4 companies. On LinkedIn, if you go onto the company page, you can see who's employed by that company. Do they have expats in that company? Because if they don't, they're not going to be interested in your profile. However, there will be certain companies that hire lots of expats, and then that is a realistic proposition for you. So if you apply, then they'll be open to your application. So that would be a big tip, is do your research.
What about local job boards?
So local job boards, it's tough because, again, if you think about our local job board is JobsDB, of course. So every job that we post, we get hundreds of applicants. And we're lucky in Jackson Grant because we've got a very good technology platform which links everything. So we don't have to navigate away. But what happens is we say tick and cross, tick and cross, tick and cross. And, with the expats, maybe we tick, but then we know later on that we can't hire that person.
Okay, so one more question from Monica. Many candidates hesitate before following up with recruiters about their application. Could you please clarify on your opinion on this?
Okay, good question, Monica. Okay, so I think you should never hesitate to follow up. But I think if your application is being dealt with and you've received some type of message, then it's the recruiter's responsibility to actually tell you what the process should be. So I will always say to my client, to my candidate at the end of the call, okay, thank you very much for your time. This is the next stage of the process. And then I will make sure I will follow up by putting a note in my schedule. And I have to say, not 100% of the time I'll get back to every candidate, but I try. And if we can't do it personally, we can use AI tools and technology to help us with that as well.
Okay.
I think we've got a lot of questions coming through now.
Yeah.
Okay, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so do you want to take the Kunjarani's question?
Okay. In case our current salary is over average market in this position, is it impact to recruiter or hiring manager to decline us after the interview?
Of course, it's an impact. So I think what we try to do as a recruitment company is, our title is recruitment consultant. And what we try to do is consult with our clients exactly what they can have, what they can afford, what they could get if they pay a little bit more. And sometimes, they'll be open to this and sometimes they won't. So if your salary is over the average market, I think what you've got to do is really learn about your push and pull factors for why you want a new job. So money is always the surface level, but it goes deeper than that. And once you earn over a certain amount, which is, it gives you enough money to be stable, then I think you should start to look at, is it closer to your home? Is there opportunity to grow within that company? Will that company provide me the feeling, the sense of ownership that I'm looking for? There's so many questions about it, But to answer your question, Jeremy, I would say there's always an impact to the recruiter and hiring manager because we work to deadlines. And to give you like a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, so typically what will happen is a HR manager will have a service level agreement, maybe 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it might be. They may have a budget and they don't want to spend their budget using a recruiter if they can solve the problem themselves. But as the clock ticks and they get towards their deadline, that's when they contact the recruiter. So if the recruiter has active candidates in their pool, great, we can help straight away. But if not, it can be a big impact and we need to work hard. I mean, how many 12-hour days have you done when you've had a requirement of a client and they want something in 48 hours? That's what we have to do. And, you know, one of the things that people forget is that we work office hours, but the people we're trying to speak with work office hours. So they want to talk to us in the evening, at the weekend, in the morning. And our days just get longer and longer and longer. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question, Jeremy. I can see another question that's come in. We've got a wizard behind the board, so thank you, Cook. Okay, so next one. How can we get a job in the UK, US, and Europe? Okay, good question. I think we don't have time to really go through that, but I would say, again, it's about research. UK visa laws are very strict. So for a Thai person to be able to go to the UK, you need to be able to prove that you can survive. And for example, my wife, she has to use her dad as a guarantor when we get a visa to go home to visit. And it's actually quite straightforward once she does that. But to actually get a job there, it's extremely tough because, again, why? I don't know what nationality this person's question comes from, but if you want to go to the UK, you need to have a unique skill set. Otherwise, there's people in England that can do the job, or people in Scotland or Ireland, US. They're even stricter when it comes to immigration at the moment. Europe, it depends on the country. So again, it's research. Do your research, try to connect to the right people, and then you can go from there.
Yeah, the unique skill set is like, I think it's pretty much everywhere right now. Okay, Kun Jarani say like, thank you very much for your answer and advice.
Thank you, Kun Jarani.
ขอบคุณค่ะ Okay, so I think this pretty much today. Okay, thank you so much everybody who is joining in today. If you have any idea of what content we can contribute in the future, please feel free to drop a comment. So maybe we will consider to make a content that people can be involved with. So
what's next time?
The next time we actually plan to do LinkedIn Live in every 2 weeks. For the next one will be maximizing ROI on jobs board.
Or we haven't decided yet. How will ChatGPT change the world of recruitment? And will AI replace us all?
Yeah, it's everywhere right now. ChatGPT, you know. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on the next LinkedIn Live. Please still comment. This will also go live on our YouTube page in the next 48 hours. We will be checking the comments. We will get back to you. But once again, thank you for joining. June, thank you for being a wonderful host. And thank you to our lady behind the scenes, Kum Cook, who has been helping with the questions. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
See you next time.